That's me.
Yeah, so now let's move on to the most exciting part. Let's talk about Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So you did your 3 months internship at Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So let's. So there are a lot of things about Facebook that we can talk about, but let's first start by your application process and how difficult was it to get an internship at Facebook, because it is like a dream job for a lot of people to work at Facebook. So what was the application process like? How difficult was it? Uh, let's talk about it.
Okay. So, well, I can describe what was my application process, so how I felt along the way, and so so first a kind of disclaimer comparing with other tech companies, big tech companies for the internship process. The internship process for Facebook is the most straightforward one. So it's very objective. You have two coding interviews. You pass both of them, it's done. And that's it. There are no behavior
Okay.
interviews. There are no system design interviews for interns. And that's just that. Two coding interviews. You have some problems. You do them, and that's it. You receive an offer or not. And yeah, so let's go through it. So first of all, how do you apply to these things? So where are these jobs lying? So you, I think there's no mystery about it. You go to their website. So you go to Facebook website, Google, Amazon, anything that you want, and
Yeah.
look for careers there and find the internship or job offers that you want and apply for them. Just apply for them as many times as you want, as often as you can. And on the end, you will figure out that this is a numbers game. This is what everyone says. And so if you leave this conversation now. If you go to search in the website, what should I do in order to get a job on one of these places? Definitely, you'll find out that this is a numbers game. So the more that you apply, it's more likely that at some point
Yeah.
you'll receive an offer from somewhere. So then on this process, I applied to everything, and then moving moving backwards to the Facebook process. So I sent my curriculum there, and then on after 1 week, they replied me and said, "Hey, we received your resume here, but it's not the profile that we are looking for right now, but we will keep it, and at some
Okay.
point maybe we'll get in touch." And I was, yeah, okay. I mean, I believe at that point I believed that okay, they always say this. Probably I would never hear from them again, and that would be it. And then 1 month later, they actually sent me an email and said, "Hey, we have open positions now, and we just walked through your resume, and probably it would make sense to include you in the interview process. So let's schedule your first interview, and you have these resources to prepare for." And that was something that I had an idea already that the interviews were going to be coding interviews, but I was
Yeah.
not sure exactly what that means. And as soon as okay, now that I have an actual interview, let's go ahead and prepare for it. And they sent me several links from websites containing basic resources for me to study, so theoretical resources, and several websites for coding exercises. Because the actual interview is going to be the interviewer will give you a coding problem. You will figure out, you will state your solution, communicating, so speaking, and then afterwards you have to code your solution.
Ah. Okay. So first you
Okay.
explain it and then you actually code it.
Yes. And there are several caveats on this process, but we will go to that. So, okay, then you have all these resources, and I had 1 month to prepare for this interview. And the only thing that I did this month, the only thing was practicing coding problems because I have very little experience on it, and I needed to prepare. And let's go, let's do it. And I was actually very fortunate to have a friend who did an internship there before,
Oh.
and this friend was very helpful on making some mock interviews with me. So if people have the chance of while they are preparing for the interviews to study with someone else, so that this person can play the role of the interviewer and actually apply a question on you, that is very helpful. And because the feeling that you get when you go to the actual interview, it will be just like, okay, it's just another one of those. It's nothing special anymore. So the first interview that I had with this
Yeah.
friend, I totally failed. I bombed. It was ridiculous. It was awful, awful, totally awful. And and then I had already had the feeling, okay, this is the awful feeling of not being able to do anything in the interview. Okay,
Uh,
I already know how is the struggle. What do I have to fear for? I mean, from now on, I already have this baseline. I Let's try to improve it. And
yeah.
then we did several exercises. Several of them I failed. Some of them I had a good performance. But the important part was that I was keep improving. I was trying. I was doing more exercises without this friend while I was practicing. And then went back to him. And then, oh, okay, we had a really nice session today. And then let's practice more. And then another session. Then, oh, okay, that session was not that good, but let's practice more. Then you have also the chance of exchanging feedback with your friend, because he also gave me advice on, okay, I think you are explaining well the things that you can do, but I think you need just more knowledge on the different kinds of problems that you can go ahead and solve, and you should explore there. And you should explore, I don't know, maybe on this area. So you're not doing really well with tree traversal algorithms, and you should study more tree traversal algorithms. And then you go ahead and you study that more. And it's nice to have this kind of interaction with someone, because overall, I believe we don't like to go through the processes alone. Probably it's also
Yeah.
not the most efficient way, and it's super
So
nice to have a partner.
yeah,
So then,
it's quite yeah. So you're quite lucky that you had a partner to practice this thing with. So what were the kind of questions that you were practicing? Were they from the module that you were given for practice, or were you just generally having some random programming problems to uh, discuss and practice interview with?
okay. So, well, overall, they tell you when they are scheduling your interview that
Yeah.
the questions that you are going to receive might range from things from like sorting algorithms, data structures, and the data structures are usually hash tables, linked lists, stacks, queues, and hash maps, and so on. Then apart from that, also things that you should know. You should know tree traversal algorithms and also graph traversal algorithms. And so it's an open game. They tell you that you should know those things, and the question that you are going to receive will be in anywhere in those fields. Besides
Yeah.
that, one thing that is also really important, sometimes neglected by some people, is complexity analysis of your algorithms. So every question in every interview that you're going to make, they are going to ask you the complexity of the algorithm that you just wrote, and
Uh,
you have to describe it. And this complexity is given in this big O notation. So, okay, my algorithm is O of n squared, is
yeah.
O of n, O of log n, or something similar. And yeah, so then moving, linking this to the interview itself, the interview usually has this kind of pipeline. So the interviewer will give you a problem, and let's say that this problem is that, okay, you have a binary search tree, and you want to print the elements of this tree in a sorted manner. What do you do? And then,
Okay.
okay, here's the problem. And usually the way to tackle these problems is, okay, let's state what would be the brute force solution to solve this problem. And then depending on the problem, you can think about different brute force solutions. And the brute force, it means that you're going to do everything, you're going to do repeated work with your algorithm, you don't care. You're just trying to have something that solves the problem. And that's actually useful, because it might be the case in some interviews that you are not able to reach the optimal solution, but at least you were able to come up with something, which is already valuable. It's always better to deliver something that is not optimal, but deliver something that's trying to figure out the optimal solution during the interview, and in the end, you're not able to come up with anything. And then usually he states the question, you state the brute force, and
Yeah.
then comes the classic question, which is, okay, that's cool, solve the task, but can you do better than that? And this
Oh.
is the actual
And
moment.
this is something that they ask in every interview. Can you improve this algorithm, or can you do better than that?
Yes, yes. This question is very likely always there,
Okay.
and that's it might be tricky at some point, sometimes, because sometimes your solution is already the optimal solution, and then you might be thinking there a lot of time that, oh, okay, can I do better than that? Is this already the optimal? And you might waste some time on that. So
Okay.
if you really believe that your solution is the optimal solution, then you think you can say, I believe this is good enough. I mean, I'm not sure either. I'm not sure of how to do better than that, and like the interviewer actually is trying to help you as well. So if the
Okay.
interviewer knows that that's the optimal solution already, he can say, yeah, okay, it's fine. We can go ahead with that. That's no problem. Or if there is an optimal solution, the interviewer will try to help you to reach the solution. So it will be, yeah, maybe if you try to think on this direction, you could see some things, some pattern, and he will try to guide you on the direction of the optimal solution. So that's something. So this question, can you do better than that, is often there.
Okay.
And then at some point, you will arrive to the optimal solution. There will be some consensus from you and from the interviewer. And he will go ahead and say, okay, you can start coding it. And I can't emphasize it enough, but through the whole interview, it's key that you are communicating with the interviewer. It's very important. This is the only way that the interviewers have to know what is going on in your head, what you're thinking,
Yeah.
how you're tackling the problem. So if you don't talk into the interview, the only thing that they will be able to see is your text editor, and you'll be coding something there that might not be clear what is actually the task that you are trying to solve.